Boston Celtics drop one to the Denver Nuggets. Bad decisions, bad play, bad luck. All three were at play. And the funniest thing I've seen in a basketball game in a long time, after a stupid delay, it's all right now, on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day, and I'm here for you every day with a free, fresh podcast dropped directly to your device if you're a subscriber, so make sure you are subscribed, and you can do that wherever podcast exists. Show is also on YouTube. I'd love it if you watch the show on YouTube and join a growing community in the comment section, talking about these games, talking about these podcasts. It's a lot of fun in there right now. Thank you for making this show your first listen every day. I'm John Karalis, former professional basketball player, now covering the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal, and I'm doing so after the Celtics 123-111 loss on game one of this road trip. A very disappointing performance by the Celtics, but I don't want to say positives to take out of it. They had their chances in this game. I thought they had opportunities in this game, but they could just never get things going. So later on, I'll talk about maybe the biggest story of this game, a 40-minute delay where Robert Williams broke a rim, and they had to wait around. And the most hilarious part of this game happening right after that. That's coming up later. But let's just spend the first couple of segments here talking about the flow of this game, and the first thing I think that just set the tone for this. And I know we talk about things like early leads, and Brad Stevens loves to bring up how much coaches hate the 20-point first quarter lead, because there's nothing that makes a team get more complacent than being up 20 early. And with so much time left, there's so many opportunities to lose that. And while it's true, I also think that you can really set a tone early, and you can get guys going. And if they're on a roll, it's gonna be hard to stop them. And I think this was a situation where the Celtics let guys get on a roll. After the game, Joe Mazzulla said, "We didn't take anything away," and I think that sums things up perfectly. They didn't take anything away from the Denver Nuggets, and they didn't take anything away from Nikola Jokic. They came out and started doubling aggressively early, and I don't want to overstate the doubling and all that, because it only happened early in the first quarter, but it happened enough where Jokic got a few quick dimes. Bruce Brown got off to a great start. He had 8 points very early, hitting shots, getting good, clean, wide open looks, no rotation behind the pass. The thing when you're doubling Jokic, which you shouldn't do, you just shouldn't double Jokic unless it's a very, very specific situation. And I can't even give you the specific situation other than to say you better have tight rotations behind it. But you've got to be up. You've got to be up by like 15, 20. You have to have a big lead, I think. If you're going to double Jokic, you have to have a big lead, and you have to be worried about his offense. Maybe he's shooting you back into a huge, you had a 20-point lead, and he's shooting your way back, his way back, and you'd rather have somebody else try to beat you. Fine. But the first quarter, the Celtics didn't take anything away from Jokic, who, by the way, finished with 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 12 assists. On 10 of 13 shooting, 2 of 2 from 3, 8 of 8 from the line. So pretty damn awesome game from Jokic, who is very much an MVP candidate again. People who say, I'm not going to vote for him again. Well, you better get your ass in gear because he's right there with everybody. He's there with Tatum. Obviously, he's there with Luka, Giannis. Who else you want to put in there? Joel Embiid. Anybody you want to put in there as an MVP candidate, Jokic is right there. In this game, very easily an MVP caliber game from him. If you're gonna double Jokic, man, you can't do it with a guard. And the Celtics threw guards at him, and he just sees that coming. He's too smart. He sees it coming, and he knows exactly where the open guy is, and he can throw the pass. He keeps the ball. He protects the ball well. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's just too damn good to throw doubles at him, weak double teams with guards. And so he picks the Celtics apart. Bruce Brown gets going. And once Bruce Brown gets going, he's feeling confident. And then that confidence kind of spreads. And I think that's where this game starts to fall apart already for the Celtics. The way I put it like this. First, it's bad decisions, like doubling. And then it's bad play, which is bad communication. Defensively, mix-ups. They just weren't focused. Almost as if on New Year's Day, they were hungover, like a lot of us were. And then it just became bad luck. Bad decisions, bad play, bad luck. That is the theme of this game to me. The bad decisions, I thought the coaching decision at the beginning was poor. You could even say that starting with Derek White was a poor decision because in the second half, they go to Grant Williams. That kind of acknowledges that, hey, in the first half, we probably shouldn't have gone that way. Should have gone with a different. When you're starting Bruce Brown, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and Nikola Jokic, that having Derek White out there, and I thought Derek White played fairly well. Maybe you go bigger. Maybe you just go with a bigger lineup. And I don't know if it was Rob that should have started or Grant Williams that should have started, but if you're going into the bad decisions, I think that's part of it. The bad play with the defense, with the offense, taking the 3-pointers and not getting the easy buckets, not getting the stops and turning them into easy buckets. And then the bad luck, which was by the time that delay hit with about 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, somewhere in that range, the Nuggets were shooting 63% from three. That's just an outrageous number. They end up settling at just about 57, just under 57%, because they missed a few late. But they were shooting basically in the 60% range throughout the entire game. And the Celtics shot 27% from three. You're just not going to win. You're not going to win a game. And as close as the Celtics were, they were right there. Even after the delay, there was a thought where you say, maybe they could figure this out. But nope. Because they could never get back on track. I thought possibly a 40-minute delay could cool off the 60% shooting long enough. Maybe the Celtics could get there and you know what? Get hydrated, get some Gatorade, get some electrolytes in you or something and say, okay, we've got 8 minutes to go. Whenever this is done, we got 8 minutes to go. Let's go out there and bust our asses for 8 minutes. And who knows? Let's just do it. Let's just try it. Let's see. And they just couldn't. They could never get that together. And while the Nuggets did cool off a little bit, that bad luck, which manifested itself in ridiculously hot shooting, just persisted. Bones Highland. Oh man. Let's talk about Bones Highland. Let's talk about the anomalies in this game. All of the weird stuff in this game that kind of made it impossible. Like the Celtics should just never get themselves on track. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. First, today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made fun, made easy. Very, very simple. The best part about, well, there are a few good things about PrizePicks. Number one, it's super easy to play. It's you against the projections. It's not you against me. It's not you against some dude with 10 computers and algorithms and processing power and all that stuff. I know daily fantasy has been plagued by that kind of stuff. PrizePicks is simple. You pick 2 to 6 players. Are they going to score more or less than the PrizePicks projection? And that's on points, on rebounds. If we're sticking to basketball, assists, do they have more or do they have less? Very simple concept, right? You can win up to 25 times your money. And they offer these projections on any sport that you watch. All the major pro sports, all the major college sports. You want to go into NASCAR, tennis, esports. I'm looking at the list that they provide me. Disc golf. I'll be honest with you. I did not check out the disc golf, but you can do it. And you can do it in 60 seconds or less. It's super, super easy. The other great part, safe and fast withdrawals. You want your money, you get your money. So it's currently operational in 30 states and Canada. So download the PrizePicks app, go to prizepicks.com, sign up, and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can get a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks gives you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Make Locked On Sports today your second listen. Get all the major stories from all across the sports world with the local experts, with the local hosts. It's not a show that you're going to find anywhere else. So get it wherever you get your podcast. Watch the show on YouTube. 22 minutes. It's worth the listen. All right, Celtics drop one to the Nuggets. And it never felt like they could really get on track. It really didn't. Jaylen Brown, by the way, let's just start with this as we dive into some of the numbers here. Jaylen Brown, awesome. First quarter, spectacular, 14 points in the first quarter. It's almost as if he walked in and said, oh, yeah, this is a battle between MVP candidates, Jayson Tatum, Nikola Jokic. Watch this. And he drops a monster first quarter. But he was the only one. He was carrying the team. In fact, there were a lot of times throughout the course of this game where I said, why aren't we looking at Jaylen more? There were a couple of instances of Tatum shooting shots where I was like, hey, man, in this instance, recognize the game, recognize what's happening here, and swing it over to Jaylen, because Jaylen had it going, and he was the guy. He was the guy that needed to get the ball a little bit more often. He took 20 shots, which is more than anybody else, and they took 87 shots. So he took a big percentage of those shots. I mean, it's almost 25% of those shots. So, but hey, on a game like this, I'm not saying throw the offense out the window, but on a game like this, dude was 12 for 20. The Celtics shot 46% from the field and 27% from three. He shot 60% from the field and 50% from three. So get him going a little bit more. I think he basically had the best game. Now, Jayson Tatum, 7 of 16, 0 of 4 from three, 11 of 14 from the line. So we got to the line a ton. Missed a few. So yeah, okay. So you hit one more and it's a decent percentage. But he was 6 of 10 in the last game. So, it's like, all right, he only missed 3 free throws, but you want to see him hit 12, 13 of those 14. That's what you want from your superstar. But 25 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. I didn't think he had a bad game. I also didn't think he had a good game. I thought he just had a game. You can disagree with me if you want in the comments, but I thought Tatum just kind of had a game. He was very aggressive in getting to the line. He got himself the free throws. That's good. Rebounded well. 6 assists is nice. Like it's a nice game. But I never at any point during this game, I never thought, okay, here's Tatum. Here's where Tatum is taking over. I just didn't feel that in this game. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you felt differently, but I thought Jaylen Brown had it working much, much more than Jayson Tatum. The anomaly in this game was the point guard position. Wow. 3 of 18 combined for Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon. 0 of 7 from 3 combined. So Smart was 2 of 12. Brogdon shot the exact same percentage, 16.7%, just 1 of 6. He had half a Smart. Neither of them had anything working. The missing shots that they normally would take, Smart just seemed flat in a lot of this. He just seemed very flat. Even shots that he would normally get in the paint, normally he would make shots, even tough shots over defenders, missing them, short, flat. He just wasn't there. I don't know what was going on, but he did not have it. He made some decent defensive plays, but he just didn't have it on offense. And what sucks is in a game like this where you need somebody to kind of get things together, to not have either Smart or Brogdon playing at their best or anywhere close to even good. That's going to really trip you up. And they still scored 111 points, but you still wanted to see some better organization. Maybe Smart would have been, if he had a better game. Look, he still had 7 assists in a bad game, but maybe he could have gotten them just 3 more assists from Smart. Getting to the 10 could have been the difference between getting somebody going or finding Jaylen Brown a little bit more and making him, turning a bad stretch into a run, where you miss a couple of shots and instead it's Jaylen Brown hitting a couple of shots and you're starting to get stops and pile up points. The Celtics could just never get stops because the other side, the anomaly, 4 of 6 from 3 for Bruce Brown, 2 of 3 from Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Bones Highland was just unconscious in a lot of ways. They shot 17 of 30 from 3. And I thought the key stretch was in the fourth quarter where the Celtics came out and were starting to get a little bit of momentum. Derek White hit a 3. Robert Williams had a tip in. Robert Williams caught the alley-oop that broke the rim, which I'll talk about next. That little stretch was, I think, Boston's kind of push. But Bones Highland was hitting ridiculous threes. You go back to the beginning to the end of the third quarter where he dribbles out the entire shot clock and he hits one. And then over the course of the fourth quarter, he hit some stupid ones, like 30-plus footers, step backs with 2 people in his face. That type of performance, it's just the Celtics were starting to make their run. And I thought the beginning of that fourth quarter, hey, Jokic was on the bench. This was supposed to be the time where they made their run. In the first half, they cut the lead to 5. They cut the lead to 5 a couple of times, like 2 or 3 times in this game. And Denver always seemed to have an answer. And I was starting to clown their bench. And all of a sudden, maybe it's my fault. The bench started to answer and hit shots. That's supposed to be a stretch where you win. That's where you beat the Denver Nuggets, where Jokic has his monster game. He puts up a 10-point lead, and then you outscore the bench by 15, and he comes in and has to try to make up the difference. So then he adds 10 to the score, and you're up 5. They're up 5, and then you cut it down, and you chop into that lead and build your own lead, and he can't bring you all the way back. Can't bring Denver all the way back. But when Highland is hitting the way he was hitting, some of the shots he was hitting, and you get that extra bit from these other guys that the Celtics said after the game, we live with those shots. You live with Bruce Brown. But the thing is, you don't live with the types of 3-pointers that these guys got. That's the difference. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, we're going to challenge this guy to hit a 3. You can say, John, you're not a good 3-point shooter. Go ahead, you shoot the ball. But you let me catch something in rhythm and get a little confidence going. Even a bad shooter can you start feeling that confidence takes you a long way when you're shooting, and that that ball starts to feel good coming off your hands. You start to get that little bounce in your step. Trust me, when you're in the zone is a fun place to be. Being in the zone is a fun place to be. And when you get that first one going, you're like, ooh, baby, that felt good coming off my hands. Then you get that next one, you say, ooh, that felt good too. Now, forget it. You don't want to live with those kind of shots. You don't want to live with somebody getting that kind of feeling. You want to live with somebody taking a three-pointer where you say, okay, we're going to contest, but we're not going to fly by you and go into a rotation for you. We're just going to challenge it a little bit and make you think. So that's where the Celtics really, those anomalies really piled up. And hey, sometimes these anomalies pile up and you're just not going to win. The Celtics losing to Denver in Denver, they're the best team in the West right now. They lead the West. Losing this game to the Denver Nuggets, and you still ultimately lost by 12. It's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the loss. There's nothing wrong with, hey, you went in, you lost, tough one. In altitude, maybe there's a hangover. Maybe people were partying too much last night, but it just sucks that they weren't able to get focused. You know, getting focused and they had done so well learning to win these games without their 3-point shooting. They had a chance to win this one. They had a chance to win this game without their 3-point shooting. They could just never get on track. All right, up next, the most hilarious thing in the game after this ungodly 40-minute delay. That is coming up in a moment. First, today's show is brought to you by Built Bar. You know, I'm recording this on now January 2nd, so we're all doing the same thing, right? We're all kind of feeling around the midsection going, ooh, Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of that. I need to lose a couple of lbs. Well, hey, you don't want to give up all the delicious food, but you need to give up some of those pounds. Hand up. That's what I got to do. So Built Bar is going to help me do that because I know that I can accomplish my goal of getting to the gym and doing what I need to do while still giving myself a delicious treat, but without the fat and calories, plus all the protein that I'm looking for in a bar that's going to help me build some muscle and kind of start looking better in these shirts. So what makes Built Bar so good? They're covered in 100% chocolate, real chocolate. They come in these flavors like churro and peanut butter brownie and coconut almond. They're only about 130 calories each with 4 grams of sugar and 17 grams of protein, which is amazing. And hey, you can't figure it out. You can build a box at built.com. Or now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. That's a big development here because normally you've had to order them online. But now if you're at Walmart and you're picking up a few things or at Sam's Club, you can pick up Built Bars. So head to your nearest Walmart, walk to the pharmacy section and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. If you're close to a Sam's Club, run in, grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie, batter, and churro. You can thank me later. Moment of the game was after Robert Williams' big alley-oop dunk in the fourth quarter, which came about 40 minutes into the game. It triggered a delay of about 40 minutes. He broke the rim. Something in the rim broke. They sat there with their tools and ratchets and blah, 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 and they couldn't figure out how to get that thing straight. We saw the bubble on that level on top of the rim just stay right where it was, pegged to the right side, just could not move it. And they took a long time to try to fix it. I don't know why it took them so long to just say, hey, you know what? We got another rim in the back. Let's just try the new rim. Something in it snapped. Hey, every once in a while, a rim is going to fail. You dunk on those things over and over and over again. One of the springs, one of the something in there, one of the mechanisms, not going to bounce back the way it used to. Sure, fine, no problem. Why it took 40 minutes for these dudes to say, okay, fine. Let's just go get the other one. It's beyond me. I've never seen this before. I've never seen a whole delay like that. I didn't like the delay. And after the game, Jaylen Brown actually said, I don't like the way that was handled. And they had been sitting for like 37 minutes, and then they got a couple of minutes to warm up. But I don't think that was appropriate. I really don't think, and no one knows how to handle that situation. But these guys were out there sitting around. You don't know how much time it's going to take. So you're not going to start running. It's not like you go out there and like do jumping jacks and jogging. You've been playing a whole NBA game. So you sit down, you take a break. Okay. Oh, an extended timeout. Great. I get to relax a little bit more. Okay. Well, there's another ladder. Well, that's odd. Why are they bringing out another ladder? Maybe at that point you should start stretching. But you just never know when that thing is going to be fixed. And they say, okay, here we go. So it's not like you can go in the back and go into the weight room, or, there's only one bike there on the side. So Al Horford can hop on the bike. There's only so much you can do. And then the game, it's like, okay, rim is back on. All right, everybody, get a few layups. And okay, you get some layup lines and stuff, but that had the potential. It really did have the potential to be problematic. And luckily no one had a hamstring or anything like that. It very easily could have been, on both sides, on either side, could have been an issue where someone tweaked something and because they came in too cold. So glad that didn't happen. The funniest part of this game, the most hilarious thing, was they restart things, and within a couple of plays, Marcus Smart scores and then tips the ball out, and they call Marcus Smart for the delay of game. 40 minutes of trying to get a rim on the damn backboard, trying to get that thing straight. Marcus Smart tips the ball away, and he gets called for a delay of game. Are you serious right now? Are you kidding me? That's one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen in my life. I thought and I know obviously there's no delay of game that you can be called, but you think maybe in that spot, the rest would be like, okay, Marcus, we don't need any further, but calling the delay of game warning on him at that moment, in that specific moment, I got a kick out of that. It's a shame that the Celtics couldn't quite get their footing after that. I thought maybe the Celtics could figure something out in those last, it was like 6.5 minutes. It was a 10-point game. And I'm sitting here trying to all right, I got to write something about this. If the game was more decided, I was like, oh, great. I could have written my whole game story. But with 6 minutes to go, that could have been a turning point. Celtics, if the Nuggets had gone cold, they missed 2-3 shots in a row, Celtics get the rebound, go and run and score, then that could have been an absolute turning point in this game. But the Celtics didn't have, they just couldn't get that together. The offensive foul by Robert Williams, so that's a turnover. The Smart tip in and delay of game violation came after, it was right on the first shot. Then the Celtics fouled Jokic and put him on the line. So Jaylen Brown hits a 3-pointer. Celtics, it's a 10-point game again. Jayson Tatum misses a shot. Then Denver comes down and Brown hits a shot again. And then they just go back and forth. Aaron Gordon catches an insane dunk. And the Celtics could just never get those couple of stops that they needed to get a few easy buckets together. They had the opportunity. But again, too many miscommunications, too much unfocused basketball. It happens. I'm not going to make too much of it, but you'd hope that the Celtics would learn and be more focused, understanding where they just came off of a road trip where that was a problem, and they just dropped 3 games at home, and a 4-3 homestand was a little disappointing. And they say, hey, you come out of that with a 2.5 game lead, and you felt a 2-game lead, and you feel good about yourself. But now the Celtics, their lead in the East is 1.5 over the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets are surging. So the Celtics on to Oklahoma City, and that's not going to be the easiest game in the world. Oklahoma City's tough. They've got length. They're young. They're not good, but they can be a problem. So we'll talk about that after that game. We'll figure out, rewatch this, and we'll come up with more to talk about this and other Celtics related stuff. It's all week long. I will be in Dallas this week, so you'll get podcasts from Dallas this week, and the Celtics play on Saturday, so you'll get a bonus Saturday night podcast into Sunday. It's all right here. So make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you can get all this stuff directly to your device. You can also watch the show on YouTube, hop into that comment section, join the rest of the Celtics fans in there. It's a lot of them. So hop in. You want to get to know a few of them, debates, do whatever. It's a fun place. So check it out on the Locked On Celtics YouTube page. If you are a subscriber, I would love it if you shared the podcast. Tell your friends, tell everybody that they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.